And welcome back, guys. We're now starting a part 2 of DND Quirk written by Lotus Moonveil. You can find author's profile link in the description. Let's begin. I have a villain self. I woke up early and began to clear out all of the Lilo and Stitch stuff from the house. It took me a couple hours to hide it all since I built her a lot of stuff. With it all in a bag of holding, I hid it up high and out of her reach. I did warn Queen not to let any replicator hay it down for a month or else. After that threat, I made breakfast for everyone and woke up Eri. She wasn't happy about her not having her Lilo and Stitch plate and cup, but after I explained again what grounded meant, she ate breakfast angrily. With breakfast done, I headed to school with Eri and dropped her off at the mini classroom Nizu set up. With her settled in, I headed down into the support lab when I was hit in the face with sneezing powder. It was a prank the class set up for Eri, but I triggered instead. After a bit of me holding it in, I sneezed loudly. The result was 2 portals forming behind me with a blue hedgehog and another me flying through them before they closed. What the F just happened? I was midair and now I'm in a hallway. Before I could reply, the blue-furred hedgehog spoke. I'm unsure MSTR, but I think this PP Willow copy may have the answer. Everyone was stunned with the speaking hedgehog as the other me sat up with a growl. Great, did I end up in another F timeline? Wait, why am I in UA? The entrance exam is happening now. I shook my head. Okay, just call me DND Izuku. I was hit by sneezing powder and kinda summoned you and your pet here. I don't know if there was time travel involved or not. May I know your quirk so I know what to call you? The hedgehog growled. He is MSTR, so back off, copycat. That's when Queen charged at the hedgehog and they started fighting. Neither I or the other me could split them apart before the hedgehog grew into a spiky Oni and threw Queen through a window. Bluebell, calm down. We are in another reality and we can't afford to make an enemy right now. We don't know if but Might is powerful here or not. I couldn't help but ask, don't you mean All Might? Don't tell me your reality's All Might is a JRK. He sighed and stood up, popping his back. Yes and no. He is a quirkist, has helped quirkless kill themselves, and told me to give up being a hero. Everyone was stunned before I waved my hand. Calm down, just because his is a JRK doesn't mean ours is. I will check though later. So what should I call you? He shrugged. I guess system will do. Queen then came flying back in and attacked Bluebell until she fell apart cause I ordered her to. Enough, Queen, they are basically us from another reality. I reassembled her and sighed as I sent her into the classroom. With her being forced to set up my desk, I lead system up to Nizu, who sighs. Midoriya, what magic did you use? He portaled me and my familiar here. Okay, from another reality, and there I'm an anti-hero and anti-villain. I'm purging villains and fake heroes as I help heroes grow and help the unfortunate. I gasped in shock and look at him scared. I will be honest, I didn't expect that at all. Are you going to terrorize this reality? System shook his head. No, I'm not going to, but I will say this, don't stop me. I've already done a lot, and if I vanish and so does my villain self, it'll ruin everything. I patted his shoulder and said, you're a stressed bloomer, right? I was given powers from a god-like entity. Close, but not exactly. I am Lily, his system, and how he got his powers. Since you are technically him, I'll give you a gift. As I hear that disembodied voice, a crystal formed in front of me and then fell into my hand. That is a quirk crystal, just eat it to get a quirk or 2. I don't know which she gave you, but they'll help you out. With that, I sent him back to his reality and I swallowed the crystal, gaining the power to mold and create any material I can imagine. Such a nice gift from a villain. Maybe not all bad guys are evil because they want to be. I'll focus on that later. Right now I have a quirk to test out. DND Izuku just met System Breaker from another story of mine. I'm also kinda losing inspiration for this story, so maybe another chapter or 2 before I end it. Thank you all for reading it though. Trying a new class, it's been a couple weeks since my evil self accidentally got warped here. I've kinda felt down before I thought of something. Guardian, I have a question. The green ball of light appeared. yes Izuku. I can become any class and subclass both legit and homebrew correct. The ball turned into a question mark, yes but why? Are you tired of being an artificer? I chuckled a bit but I'm going to use a homebrew feat called true multiclassing. It lets me get multiple classes and subclasses at the same time. The ball chuckled as it heard me, going arcane trickster. I shook my head, no, I'm going to add Circle of Slugterra Druid. The ball dulled a bit and warped as it was confused, I don't know that homebrew. Where did you find it? I stiffened some, I am stealing it from the creator of this timeline and others. He's using it for a campaign and I want to use it for some chaos. Guardian nod the best they can before they vanish as I activate the 2 homebrew things. True multiclassing lets me learn 1 additional class or subclass to the maximum. Technically I'd have to be level 40 to learn it all but I am level infinity so. The druid's repulsion of metal hit me hard making me back away from the metal project I was working on, and that feeling hurt. It felt like metal was draining my energy. I'm gonna have to activate a feat that makes it so metal doesn't cause that. After getting over the feeling I did so and began my plan. My new class lets me summon slugs from a cartoon called Slugterra. Slugs are literally living ammo that shape-shift when shot from special guns. The DND subclass changed that up though. The slugs get rolled stats and can get almost any martial class though some subclasses aren't allowed. This will be a lot of fun and I already have Nisa's permission for it. I do cheat and go above the 13 slug limit you have at level 20 but I make a full-on army of slugs. Healer squad. Light slugs work as clerics to heal after the prank and also heal the others. Monk squad, a mix of slugs with different elements and subclasses including a couple drunken MSTR and ascendant dragon. Barbarian squad, mostly totem path with a mix of berserker and beast path. Rogue squad, assassin, phantom, scout, soul knife, and swashbucklers all in a group and ready to cause chaos. With my 3-inch tall army I created 1 special slug based off of Burpee from the show. For the prank I put him in a small hamster cage with a wheel and food. Luckily he was all in for the prank. The other slugs got special mini vehicles just for them. I made them robotic wolf, mole, and horse mounts based off the old cartoon. This should be fun as hell. I fed the troops and told them to be quiet as it's night time now. I carried Burpee out of the garage and into the house with him running in his wheel. When Aerie saw him she ran over, "Dad, what's that? It's so cute. May I pet it?" Burpee growled and sprouted some flames on its head which I quickly put out with some water. I'm afraid not, Snowball. I'm not sure what it is but it's definitely not a normal animal. It's hostile so I recommend you not try to play with or feed him. Queen wasn't in the garage as I set this up so she poked at the cage. Burpee shot flames out at her burning the cotton we put on her to reduce the clicking noise. She dropped her leg in the sink, formed a new one and went to get more cotton stuffing, speaking in clicks so only I can understand her. She was not happy about Burpee. You made it happen by tapping its cage. Leave it alone and it'll not attack. We ate supper with me trying different foods on Burpee. He likes fruits, berries, lettuce, and katsudon. The little troublemaker stole a noodle from my bowl because it was close to his cage. I was stunned but Mom and Aerie laughed as I gave him a mini bowl after a tiny bit. He acted a bit nicer to everyone after that but I kept him in his cage so tomorrow the fun will happen. When I got up I warped the slug army to where it was needed for the prank and made breakfast for everyone. Bacon pancakes with syrup though Burpee just got some bacon and strawberries. After taking a shower and getting Mom and Aerie up we ate, I formed the shark board in the garage, and we headed off to school. Burpee was having fun in a special spot I added for his cage. Once we got to the school I headed inside and brought Aerie and Burpee up to Nizu. Hey Nizu, I found something interesting yesterday. I'm not sure what it is but it can breathe fire. I then put Burpee on his desk and Nizu looked him over. Is it a robot or flesh and BLD? It looks and smells real. I moved Eri over to a corner of the room that had a desk set up and played some cartoons on a TV for her since we are really early. It's real and his name is Burpee. He is based off the show while the rest are more D&D based. I used the dual class feat to gain a second class and chose a homebrew one. Queen glared until I picked her up. Tell anyone or act lax when the prank starts, you will be my Netta's diaper for a week. She quickly agreed and hid in the bag of holding have for replicators. Nizu gave his evil smirk. So what's the signal for the prank to start? I laughed. Technically it's already started. I've checked and lots of people, even people from the school, posting pics and vids of the slugs on the mole mechas. They haven't figured anything out yet, just wondering what is and why there's suddenly so many and why they look sad. I show Nizu the videos and one shows Death Arms catching one only to be thrown around by the tiny slug before it got back on its mount and dug underground. Ouch, I might have made the totem barbarians a bit too strong. Nizu was rolling on the floor laughing as Death Arms was tossed around like a rag doll. Eri walked over and watched. It's another Burpee. I looked at Eri. Who's Burpee? She pointed to Burpee. I named him that after he started to burp little flames after supper. I relaxed some and I nodded. It is like Burpee, but this one is very strong and seems to be dressed. And by the sparks I saw a lightning element instead of fire. I pointed out the belt of totems on the slug before I get alerted to another slug sighting was posted. I watched and nearly fell over laughing at it. My Netta was caught trying to slap a girl's rear, but before he could, an astral self-monk slug showed up and beat him up using its astral arms only. Nizu of course gave him detention for trying to grope girls and was laughing as we put him being beat up on loop as the screensaver on all the laptops, computers, and TVs in the school. Once that was done, I had Eri go back to her corner to get ready to learn, as told Nizu what the attack signal was. I'm thinking during lunch feed him this and duck. He will release a giant fire breath afterwards. If villains try to join in on the assault, the slugs will beat them up for real. Nizu nodded. How many slugs are there? I smirked as I left, closing the door right after my last word. I only made 2 million. With the plan in motion, I headed down to the support classroom and began working on some toys. My classmates looked annoyed until Rob Oleg walked over. I know you've already got straight A's, but why are you making children's toys? RC cars and drones aren't exactly useful. I sighed. They are, with D&D magic mixed in. The RC vehicles have special bags of holding with air generators so the people inside can breathe. The vehicles also have the resizing spell mixed in so they can get bigger or smaller as needed to explore collapsing buildings. They backed off and let me continue working. I admit these were a small project I felt like doing as I kept watching videos of the slugs being seen and watching as they get more concentrated around the school. When it was time for lunch, I was really excited for the chaos to start. I headed off to a restroom and quickly shifted into Eli Shane from the show and teleported to a building near the school with a smirk. After a couple minutes, a giant cone of fire popped out of Niza's office, destroying the window by melting a giant hole in it. That's when I jumped to the ground and ran to the gate to the school. Release my partner or else. You guys stole him from me. People laughed as they just thought I was an egotistical teen. Hound and Aizawa walked over to the gate and opened a segment of it to look at me. This will be really fun now. We didn't steal anything from you, now leave or we will arrest you for disturbing the peace. I glared at them. That cone of fire was from my partner, now release him or else you will regret it. Someone kidnapped him last night and I want Burpee back now. Hound growled, leave now. Last warning. I warned you too. With that I pulled out a blaster and jumped back some for some distance. After aiming, I shoot an acid totem barbarian slug at the gate. The slug not only melts the gate but also punches both heroes clear of the gate and the acid so they don't get too hurt. Let stage 2 of the prank begin. Trying a new class part 2 with the gate blasted and melted to rubble, I walked in and grabbed a flare I shot into the air. Instead of a glaring red ball of flame and sparks, a giant pulse of blue energy came out of it. That pulse of energy didn't affect anything and Hound laughed. What was that, a faulty EMP? I smirked and said, that was slug energy and you'll find out what it does soon. As soon as I finished speaking, the ground began to shake and lots of dirt mounds began to be pushed out of the ground. I know you guys didn't say me and what army, but here it is. The mounds erupted as the mole mechas finished digging and burst out of the ground. With the tunnels built, the others came flooding out to cause chaos. They mostly targeted the teachers as they were all pros and scared the students that didn't want to fight. The stuff I saw makes me still laugh to this day. Mineta being used as a volleyball between a few barbarians, Katsuki using his explosions on a rogue only to get his rear burned by them or their teammates. The chaos was appealing as I walked down the halls and knocked out any classmates that tried to stop me. I felt bad about knocking out Uraraka and Mei, but I needed to. No one really could stop me, but Queen had her replicators fight to unarm but not kill the slugs to make it look like I was still there fighting somewhere. It helped I made it so that the slugs also kept people away from the bathroom I'm hiding in. Eventually I got to Nizu's office and growled, "Release my friend now." Nizu was shocked I got there so fast until he looked outside and saw that everyone was dealing with a lot of slugs at the same time and their mechas. He quickly released Burpee from his cage and watched as Burpee somewhat slowly jumped to me. I quickly put him in an odd crystal for 30 seconds before he came out good as new. I got what I wanted. I will leave, but send out a warning, never touch my slugs. I tossed 2 folded pieces of paper at Nizu at such an angle only one would be seen on camera. With that I left through the melted window and set off another slug energy flare. This time all the slugs returned to their holes, healed anyone injured, and left no evidence that we're here. Well, the gate, window, and video couldn't be fixed or deleted, but the ground had no evidence of a hole. With their retreat done, I headed out the gate until I was stopped by All Might. I hate to do this, but he had to come help when it's his day off. "Stop right there, villain. How dare you attack UA?" I groaned inwardly before I glared at him. Nizu had my friend Burpee in a cage. I just came to get him back. Now let me go or get hurt. You can see no one is hurt here cause I healed everyone, since only Nizu and Izuku are to blame. When he charged at me, I shot Burpee into the air, causing him to morph and then create a ring of fire which I used to vanish and appear in the bathroom. Before I'm found, I quickly beat myself up with bruises and cuts before slumping on the floor. When I'm found, I'm instantly taken to Recovery Girl, who heals me, and Nizu walks in after I'm healed. "Our curiosity cost us today. That thing you found was a slug and belonged to that person. I think he is a villain, but he healed all he hurt except you and Mineta." I nodded and slowly stretched as Recovery Girl left the room to take care of Mineta, chuckling that the pervert got roughed up. Nizu smiled, "So you're going to use your new class as an anti-hero/villain to help defeat true villains and fake heroes. Why, and yes, cameras are off." I smiled as I stood up. "No villains attacked the school as I hoped, and it took me an hour to get to your office. I beat up and healed a ton of heroes but not one villain. I'm going to make Slugterra a villain, and I need a special area for my villain stuff since I can't keep it at home and I can't let my classmates see me making the stuff." Nizu pondered for a bit before he snapped his fingers. "Use a homebrew item to do it. I have the notes in my office. Follow me." He ran out the door, hopped into his car, and sped off to his office with me running behind him. Once there, Eri hugged me and I hugged her back. "You okay, Snowball?" She nodded, "But we lost Burpee. Can you find him again?" I patted her head. "I'm sorry, but no, sweetie. He belonged to that person, and if I knew he had an owner I wouldn't have grabbed him. I will make you a plush of him though if you want." She looked up at me for a bit before she agreed to it. "Found it. Here's that paper you wanted, and hopefully it helps you with the RC rescuers you've been working on." As he handed me that paper, he also returned the secret paper to me. I nodded and headed off to Hero class, where we all basically just told the teacher what happened. Other than Mineta being used as a volleyball the entire time, mine was the most embarrassing. I accidentally caused this by catching a slug with fire abilities. Because of that I was attacked and beat up pretty bad in the restroom I headed to before getting lunch. Shoto was interested in what I said, "A slug with fire powers. Did you see an ice one?" I nodded and thought a bit. Honestly, they looked kinda familiar. If only I could place them. I began to draw a burpee, a frost crawler, ice slug, and a few random slugs before Yaoyorozu spoke up. Wait, those look like slugs from Slugterra. That makes me perk up some as a few others recognize the name and point out a few I drew from the show, leaving the odd ones with armor, weapons, and odd items on them. These look like they would fit the show, but slugs don't have weapons or energy constructs to fight. Mineta said as he held an ice pack to his head. I looked at him. You dealt with a group of them, right? What all did you see? He sighed. One had giant energy hands they used to slap me, one had totems that would glow and then it seemed angry, and there was one whose weapon wasn't solid but I still felt pain where it hit me. It felt like a part of me was burnt but no physical mark. I pull a pair of glasses from my backpack and look at him and freak out. That's impossible. Your soul is damaged. Those odd blades hurt your soul. I go through the D&D books I own to see what to do to heal a person's soul. After a while of finding nothing, I tried to give him a healing potion and used a healing spell on him. After his soul was healed, I relaxed for a bit. I slumped in my seat for a bit, waiting for someone else to come to the conclusion I was leading them to. A few classmates had also grabbed my books to get an answer when Uraraka looked at a totem barbarian slug and read about its class in the book. Midoriya, I think the odd slugs are part of D&D. This one fits Primal Path Totem Barbarian. I quickly sat up and looked at the drawing and what was written. Acting like I didn't think of it, I checked the drawings and looked at the books to see which classes matched what. Before I could finish my act, Guardian popped up. Izuku, I am sorry. I couldn't stop them. A fellow god gifted a person from a reality with Slugterra being real with the D&D abilities I gave you and warped them here. I've been trying to undo it but I wasn't fast enough. Oh, I'm guessing you met them already cause of the drawings. I nodded and Guardian vanished with a loud, sorry. I'm glad I told him about my prank, but also setting up a villain backstory. He helped out a lot. Aizawa groaned from his sleeping bag on the floor. Go inform Nizu, Midoriya. You and Mineta get a couple days off to rest. If I hear you still went to the support class tomorrow and the next day, I'll put you under house arrest. I nodded and picked up all my books and drawings before I ran to Nizu. Once there, I locked the door and chuckles as Eri was napping. Couldn't be any better timing. They figured out the D&D slugs kinda on their own, with some prodding from me not using magic to heal Mineta until in the classroom. They recognized the ones from the show and Guardian helped out our plan. My alter ego Eli Shane is now going to be marked as an interdimensional villain with D&D magic from a god. So who's our first target to wipe out? We both laughed a bit as I read the note we passed back and forth. The poachers and smugglers, huh? You always seem a step ahead, Nizu. I'll target them tomorrow and I'll hit the liberation group the day after. I got 2 days off from Aizawa. He nodded and let me go home. I carried Eri home and stitched together a big burpee plush for her. With that done, I read the homebrew item. Ring of City, a personal city you can warp in and out of at will. The city has fields for CRPs, a self-regenerating forest, and an infinite source of water. Livestock, people, and materials can be brought in at will. I smiled reading it and made a slug-friendly version of it. Each building basically got pneumatic tubes that the slugs can use to get around, and an underground slug city for them to use as they want. I of course can use a druid's wild shape to join them down there and explore, but I won't do that often. All of my slugs loved the place and moved in as I made a parking building for the mechas. Yes, the mechas are barely bigger than a $15 RC car, but I made 2 million of them. The building has tracks and shelves to move them until they fill up or a slug wants their mecha. It's similar to some parking units in Tokyo, but lot more shelves and vehicles in them. Tomorrow will be interesting as hell. Slugs vs poachers. Small note, I might mention slugs from the show, so I will add pics if I think it's needed. Also, I added a pic of Burpee in the chapter. Trying a new class, I got up and slowly headed downstairs to make breakfast for my family. With it done, I woke up Eri and Mom for them to eat breakfast while I showered. After eating, I took Eri to school only for Aizawa to trap me in his scarf. I am just dropping off Eri. Like I would waste a chance to not go to school, he shook his head and let me go drop her off, tomorrow drop her off at the gate. I'll take her from you. I nodded as I drop her off with Mizu. After dropping her off I took a file from Mizu and left to handle the poacher's slug style. Once I left the school I read through the file and warped near where I have to be. I watched the poachers summoned a few special slugs from their city for the fun. With an evil grin I sent out a group of fighter hoverbug slugs with full-on protection style fighting. The next shot they fired made me bust up laughing. One of the hoverbug slugs then flew into the path and blocked it, sticking out its tongue before diving back into the tall grass. The poachers were quite stunned as they saw that. One of them said, "What kind of bird was that? I've never seen anything like it and it had armor." They argued a bit before one used his quirk to shoot lightning at their target. Another hoverbug slug, with the lightning element, stopped it, flipped them off in its own way, and hit again. The results for this was hilarious. Lightning asked, "Is it just me or did that thing flip us the bird?" Their leader nodded, "I have to say yes because it formed a fist of lightning and flipped us off." Lightning was then slapped upside his head by his leader. I was holding my hands over my mouth so my laughter wouldn't be heard. My slugs on the other hand were loudly chittering, making the poachers and their target looked around terrified. I then used tree stride to walk out of a tree behind them. "Why are you shooting at my slugs?" The group all stood up as one actually SHT himself. The leader was the first to get over the shock. "Wait, those weird things are slugs. Well, we are after the cheetah there but they keep blocking our shots." I groaned, "They protect animals in danger, now give up or else." They all attacked me as they all have the same idea. Bullets, lightning, and ice were all shot at me only for more slugs to intercept and glare. You asked for this and my slugs are not on the market for a reason. The earth shook some as I secretly warped out a couple druid slugs to grow plant platforms where I placed ascendant dragon monk slugs. Taste the lightning. With that all of them breathed lightning, tazzing the giant group all at once, including the lightning quirk dude. While they are tazzed I shot out a spider-like slug from the show called an arachnet slug. This slug spun some webbing and after hitting one guy with it kept spinning more as it spun around the entire group, tying them up. Once they are tied up I grab them and drag them through a tree with the tree stride ability, with them screaming and trying to get free. I dropped them off near the police station with a disc recording of them hunting illegally along with the file Mizu gave me. The police tried to arrest me only to see me walk into a tree and vanish. I can't wait to see the video of their reactions to me using tree stride. With that group of poachers done I headed to the second group. These guys hunt snow leopards and I have a fun idea. I'm gonna use some crystallite enchanted to stay in their aeromorph forms. These guys aren't gonna know what happened. After warping over to where the poachers are I watched them look for a snow leopard. They weren't having any luck so I had to stay hidden for a while. Eventually I got bored and decided to use my wild shape ability as a druid. Warping ahead of their path I became a snow leopard and cast a few defensive spells so nothing hurts me while I get my crystallids ready for the attack, while I had a couple hoverbugs hold some GoPros at good angles where they won't be seen. As the snow leopard I chased down a rabbit and caught it when the poachers saw me and shot at me. Deciding to F with them some I jump high into the air from the gunshot, making the shot miss me and the rabbit, which runs off cause I didn't hurt it. Their outfits made them stick out some so I pretended to just see them and back away hissing at them. Another shot fired, another miss by me dodging it, and I take off like a rocket. The idiots followed me as planned as I run to the trap I got ready for them. After a couple minutes I climbed up a tree and hiss at them as they run towards the base of the tree. That's when I changed back to normal and flipped them off as the ground gives out below them. As they stand up and look around after the snow settles they see a circle of floating aeromorph crystallids glaring at them with their drills going. They all fainted in fear, which kinda ruined my fun some. I turned them in with proof and got Eri from the school so I could walk her home. As we rode the shark board we stopped at a park and this time there were an army of geese ready to fight us. The JRK goose got reinforcements to help it cause chaos and steal their bell. Eri wasn't happy he was back, but I had an idea. Reforming some replicators into goose forms, I secretly created a clone of myself and had them become my alter ego. The clone waited as our goose-likators fought the geese. After a bit he shot out a slug energy flare, stunning all the geese. That's when lots of mole mechas popped out of the dirt and the slugs shocked the geese, making all but the main JRK leave. Even when surrounded and shocked repeatedly, that goose stayed and tried to fight. Then JRK Goose actually got the bell he was after, and once he got it he transformed. Who knew which like quirks existed, and he said one off. From goose to man in a business suit, stop shocking me. 5 years as a goose is enough punishment. I had my replicators contain the slugs summoned as Eli clone walked over. Of course he was mad. Release my slugs now. I did so, but each time one tried to shock the guy I recaught and moved them further away. That's when Eri saw a burpee on clone's shoulder and yelled, "Burpee." Burpee was of course happy to see her and actually hopped over for her to pet him a bit before returning to the clone. The once goose dude ran while I was dealing with the slugs. The clone then releases another flare, making the slugs dig back to the portal to the ring city while I recalled my replicators. We glared at each other for a bit before the clone spoke as planned. What did you give Burpee? He keeps mentioning some odd worm-like thing in a brown sauce. Eri beat me to the reply, katsudon, which is a pasta dish Dad likes. The clone got irritated. You have a daughter already. How irresponsible of you. I snapped back. I adopted her after her grandfather was killed in front of us. I've been keeping her safe except when I took Burpee on accident. I didn't know you existed and I couldn't place why he looked familiar. Nice to see the other DND gifted face to face though. The clone scoffed, gifted. I fought for my power unlike you. Now I'm gonna leave and get some rest. I took care of 2 poacher groups while you healed from the beating my slugs gave you. He vanished laughing with Burpee waving. Goodbye to Eri. She waved back and grabbed her plush of him. Can you become friends with him? I miss Burpee already. I sighed. I will try my best, Snowball. No promises beyond that. Actually I can use a spell to copy Burpee, but I'll need their permission first. I will ask next time I see them. With that we headed home and I made an apple pie for dessert, and for supper I made meatloaf. While I was cooking, Mom came home with clone behind her. Izuku, a friend of yours is here. I looked and sighed. Yes, bud. What do you need? Depending on what it is there will be a cost, just to be fair. As I spoke, Burpee jumped into Eri's head and played with her some. I kinda need the brand or recipe for the katsudon you fed Burpee. He doesn't like any I've found so far. My mom recognized Burpee after he began playing with Eri. You're the guy who attacked you, eh? Leave now or else. I put my hand on Mom's shoulder. It's fine, Mom, it's my fault for taking Burpee. The recipe is my mom's, so you gotta ask her. I do want to cast a homebrew version of clone to make a copy of Burpee to play with Eri. Mom glared. I'll give you the recipe, but never hurt my son again. Or hurt my granddaughter. The clone chuckled. If Burpee likes them I will never hurt them again. He just wasn't happy about the cage. Burpee let me pet him and nodded to the clone since I let him in on the plan. My mom handed him a copy of the recipe in Japanese and English, only for my clone to not understand it. I'm sorry, but I don't know these languages. I had to hold back my laughter some as I handed him some glasses. Use these. I put a translation spell on them so you can read the language and it'll teach you how to read them on your own. The clone nodded and I cloned Burpee, adding 2 stripes of color where a collar would be to separate our pet from the original. Eri was happy and playing with our Burpee as the clone gave us some slug food for him to eat. Once that was done he vanished and Eri headed to the workshop/garage to make Burpee a bed. Mom, sorry I forgot to tell you, Eli and I are the same person. He's a clone I made for this so people have seen us together. I'm gonna be a vigilante as him. Eri can't know and I'm telling Nizu you know and about the clone Burpee I made for Eri. Mom shook her head and chuckled. You spoil Eri. I will not tell anyone, but promise me you'll be safe. I nodded and quickly rushed out to help Eri make Burpee a bed. After finishing a metal bed with cotton and memory foam as the bedding, we had supper. Before anyone asks, yes, I enchanted the bedding to be fireproof. Supper was uneventful until dessert. Eri sneezed, scaring Burpee, causing him to jump into the air and land on our apple pie slice, making a big mess. He chittered an apology as we all laughed at him. Eri cleaned up the mess and gave Burpee some of the slice he destroyed as I got her a new slice. She slept well that night with Burpee in his bed next to hers as she snuggled the plush of him I made her. Meta Liberation vs Slugs. After a peaceful night's sleep and a good breakfast, I take Eri and her pet Burpee to school. Aizawa nearly freaked out until Nizu drove out and told him to get Eri and her pet inside. I explained what happened to Nizu and he laughed. With that bit done, I headed out to deal with a group of quirkist elitists. Needless to say, I am very eager to make them into putty, but I can't murder anyone. The group wants to kill weak or quirkless people and let everyone else use their strong quirks. You read that right, they only want strong quirks to exist. What a group of egotistical JRKs. Anyways, before I go too far off track, I hate them. I'm also surprised Endeavor isn't a part of them. In my Eli disguise, I marched over to their base. Honestly, it's just a town of JRKs going over a few 100,000 last time we checked. When I was about 1/4 of a mile away, an alarm went off, making everyone head home and prepare for a fight. The only reason I know that is because I already had my slugs infiltrate the town yesterday. They're going to regret trying to fight when my main force is already inside. Once I headed close enough to touch the town's gate, a guy slid over. His quirk and hero name, Slide and Go. Basically he can slide on any surface as if he's on a surfboard on the ocean. Who are you and what do you want? I smiled. I'm looking for the Meta Liberation Group and Redestro. I have a lesson to teach them. As I say that, the guy growled and motioned me through the gate. After a bit of following him, he yelled, "Get the non-believer." I just waited a bit for nothing to happen. I'm sorry, was something supposed to attack me? The guy yelled it a few more times along with a bunch of curse words. I let him for a bit before I yelled, "Form ranks." The town then filled with chittering as an army of slugs started to leave the buildings and drag the bound people out behind them. The look on the guy's face was priceless. Especially when a small group dragged Redestro over as well. He was quickly bound as well, and I used Tree Walker to quickly drag all the villains to multiple police stations to hold them all. It took me a long time to transport all of them. With the group caught, I picked up Eri and apologized for being late. Aizawa nearly gave me another day off, but I stopped him. Honestly, I'd rather not find out what Nizu will make me fight if I got another day off. Also, I blamed me being late since Eri now has a new favorite show. He just shook his head as I took Eri home. Now to see what tomorrow will bring. I walked into hero class, at Power Loader's insistence, to see everyone tired and a bit worried about today's lesson. What did I miss? They all groaned as Katsuki yelled, "Thanks to the slug attack we had to work twice as hard the past 2 days. Be lucky you and Grapist missed it." As that was said, Mineta walked in looking beat up. I wouldn't consider myself lucky. I couldn't do anything I usually do cause the slugs would appear and beat me up. I'm afraid to even crack a dirty joke. Kaminari winced as the girls all have evil smirks. I quickly ran to my seat and sat down as chaos happened. Yayarosa tricked him, "Mineta, what's a ghost's favorite bee?" Without thinking he yells, "Boobies." He is then beat up by some custom slugs I made with a unique class and everything. If simple hits and insults won't break his perverted ways, I'll do the extreme. They are known as Shadow Knights, able to teleport anywhere they are needed. They can attack with any element needed, and for now they're doing a custom element I call Chastium, which is always able to hurt perverts. My guardian jokingly calls it corny bard repellent. It doesn't cause actual pain beyond a punch, but the mental attack is the key. Each punch slowly ruins his perverted desires while making him a proper gentleman in public. I don't care what he does in private, his public image could ruin heroes if he becomes one. Eraserhead walked in and chuckles some as Mineta gets tossed some. I guess Eli doesn't like perverts. One slug shook its head and they both vanished, letting my netta hit the floor. I quickly healed him and got him to his seat. Since I did work you guys too hard the past 2 days and Nizu's orders, today's a free day. You can do whatever you want as long as it's legal. Everyone was excited but kept it down as we all planned what to do. Some wanted to play video games, a couple wanted to train their quirks, and the perverted duo wanted to be themselves. Well, they did until they both got juggled for a bit. Then Katsuki gave me an idea. I can't believe Grapist and knockoff Pikachu both forgot about the slugs. Guys, I have an idea. Why not fuse a game with training? They all looked at me confused. I texted Nizu getting us a big training room as I lead them there. Once there I used replicators to form odd rigs. The rigs are an ancient technology called a VR track. The player's waist is held in a ring that lets them spin and the floor is slippery but reacts to footsteps letting them move in the VR game. The videos of people freaking out in them is always funny. Back on track now, I put everyone in one and gave them some room with walls between them. Each room got warped by illusions into Pallet Town from Pokemon Let's Go. This made a good amount of my classmates happy as they all chose their respective Pokemon which got built out of replicators. I admit I did cheat and create a fluid metal to help with shape where needed. Jagged Replicator EV still looks cool though, especially after the colors got added to it. If someone draws or models an EV made of replicator blocks I'll share and add you to the story for a couple chapters. I had them all start their own adventures with Katsuki flying around with his quirk to get where he wanted. As everyone faintly heard his explosions they all began to use their quirks the best they can to do stuff. Kyoka used her sound to stun and hurt Pokemon, Momo created fake Pokeballs, Denki shocked Pokemon, and Froppy swam with Pokemon. She didn't want to be a trainer so I let her swim after I filled part of her segment with water. Those who wanted caught and trained their Replymon. After a couple hours of everyone having fun they had a tournament as I played with my shiny Eevee and shiny Magikarp Replymon. Unfortunately the tournament ended in a draw between Momo and Katsuki. They both had electrodes that self-destructed. Everyone had fun and I decided to make something for everyone. The next day during support class Eri helped me make special VR-like items for my class along with a few giant bags of microbots similar to those in Big Hero. Once it was done Eri helped me present the new toys. I walked in smirking as Eri came in on a wave of microbots. With the class's attention I passed out the gear and their own bag of bots. This is so you guys can play the Replymon game without me. It isn't able to replicate environments that well, hence the goggles. They played a bit with the bots till Aizawa walked in. Before he could say anything I handed him a set and showed him all the cat Pokemon in the game which I expanded to include all maps and area quirks. Terastallization, Dynamax, Z-moves, Mega Evolutions, and Shinies. I even added a few other things like speckled Pokemon that are a mix of regular and shiny, and fusions. The fusions are based off a generator from the 2020s. Surprisingly the website was still up. We spent an hour playing before we had to go to the gym to do some exercises and fighting. Luckily the microbots could actually as sparring partners and help us train. I used mine to learn Judo, Taijutsu, and a few others. To be honest I kinda felt like Kenichi. Needless to say that this was a fun week. This will be a crossover with a short story I wrote. I hope you enjoy and sorry I've kinda been out of ideas again. I sighed as I watched an old as hell cartoon called Thomas the Tank Engine. My mom folded the tapes in the attic and had Eri use them for training until they were brand new, along with the tape player. As we watched the show I saw all the memes and scary games made based around it. Someone created a horror game that got mimicked a good bit called Choo Choo Charles. I decided since today was the weekend and there wasn't a test Monday to explore the town some. It didn't take me long to run into a villain. The first clue was a bunch of spider, train, hybrid things running through the mall. I easily smashed a couple causing a ball of energy to leave the corpses and fly somewhere faster than I could react. As I got over my shock I watched a villain in train-like armor walk over. With each step I heard hissing and clicking as an army of more of those spider things followed them. I got into a fighting stance when the armor vanished, revealing a scarred and adult me. "Hello me, I'm guessing you're a hero in this world." I nodded as I summoned a swarm of replicators with Queen absorbing a lot of extra parts to become huge. I'm glad that she did as a giant train thing dropped through the mall's glass ceiling behind the older me. The older man smirked. "Your quirk can be seen as villainous if they knew the truth about your replicators. Parasitical robots that eat technology to grow stronger. This made me mad, so you have multiple quirks. Let's see what all you have." I scanned him and nearly puked at the flood of information info my mind. His list of quirks made mine look like a child's book against a multi-book dictionary set. Well, it was until mine copied all of his and I got copies of his train creatures. This startled him and his trains when my copies spawned in around me and some were made of replicator pieces. My side attacked first, destroying all of his minions until only he was left in a circle of my replicators and train things. "You win me, didn't expect you to be able to copy quirks without touching someone. If you summon a return portal for me I'll just head home." I should have known better but I didn't. I barely had the portal formed as a shadow train thing came out of nowhere. At first I assumed it was mine until it cut me and suddenly vanished into a ball of light which adult me grabbed. "Thank you for the gift, sucker." With that he entered the portal which instantly closed. After standing there for a little bit in stunned silence I recalled all the train creatures which I now recognize as Choo Choo Charles. Queen shrank back down and all the replicators went back into storage. "Are you okay, King? You seem upset." I chuckled, "A little bit, but I do kinda hope his world can't handle my powers." Queen shuddered a bit as I said that. "I'm glad this world can support it. Without magic you'd be quirkless." I nodded and bought what I needed before heading home. Choo Choo Charles Izuku's POV. Once I got through the portal I looked over all my new abilities only for most to I'm not sure how to explain it really. Best way I can think of is them draining of energy and becoming like dead batteries. The few quirks I could still use were useful but most were worthless. What the hell am I supposed to use a quirk like stretchy eyeballs? If it combined with the one I already had it would be nice, but for some reason I couldn't fuse them. Charles formed in a smaller form behind me. "Is everything okay, Izuku? You seem tense." I nodded. It seems my hunch was right and wrong at the same time. Other realities can have quirks but their versions can't fuse with ours. Also something is odd about that world's quirks. Most of them died once coming here, meaning something was unique there. Charles paced a bit by walking up the wall, across the ceiling, and down the other wall for a bit. He stopped on the ceiling and looked at me. "Maybe it's a type of energy like mana or a special element in the air." I shrugged. "No clue, but I can go to another reality later and look." "Let's get you some supper." Major time skip. It's been a while since I went to UA. I graduated at the top of both my classes and got myself a girlfriend. The biggest shock to most people is that I married a civilian. She's no slouch, so even some hardened villains run in fear of her. It doesn't help I enchanted her favorite weapon, a 300-year-old pair of flip-flops made of bamboo. My life has been simple and enjoyable since I graduated. My Eli Shane alter ego was revealed to be me and I started to use both slugs and replicators to fight crime. There's also the monthly familiar games I broadcast which brings joy to people. Using the slugs and replicators I recreate the events of the past. Rodeos, the Colosseum, Olympics, marathons, car racing, and even gaming tournaments. Unfortunately, there has been betting, so I just set up a very secure website and on-site area to place bets. I'm not gonna rig the games, so my wife runs them for me so I don't influence the games. Then the best thing to happen to me, I have kids and a grandkid. My first was twins I called Melody and Hibiki. A boy and girl pair who literally sang a bit as they came out of the WMB. Their powers actually work with each other in an odd way. Melody uses music to affect the world around her, and depending on the genre the different effect and elements appear. Hibiki uses the boosted elements and fights with them as he is kinda an avatar with a unique music and dance-themed fighting style. The pair destroyed the test bots at their entrance exam and are the #1 duo hero team out there. My third kid is quirkless like I was, but I still love him. His name is Arthur and he's a hero as well. He uses the Knight's Code from Dragon Heart as his guiding light and has become the hero King Arthur. He despises it, but it sticks because he has his own knights. The humor doesn't escape him, but he wants to be called Knight Arthur again, but I'm against it. He worked hard for his title and he's keeping it. Before you guys get your undies in a twist, I didn't forget Eri. I can't really call her my daughter anymore since she became my partner in crime. She is a doctor with recovery girl who is still alive because of a misfire of Eris Quirk making them the same age. If I remember correctly, they're both physically 27 now and raising hell together. A lot of the more gung-ho risk-taking heroes fear them and their pets. Sorry, got sidetracked. She still is my daughter and I love her. We prank each other and the rest of the family often. My mom has a no-prank rule now because of us. Now on to my granddaughter, True League Midoriya. She's Eris' daughter and a bundle of energy. At a couple months old she was eating baby food and crawling everywhere. Had to put her on a special treadmill just to keep her in a room. Her quirk is still unknown as she's not even one yet, but I can tell when she gets it. Well, I better get back to quirk-proofing the house. My life isn't what I planned, but I love how fate put it together for me.